G'day guys, welcome to the Capelli Tempest 1000 walkthrough. If you're interested in a detailed test drive, we bash through a few waves today. Follow the link coming up on the screen now. This is the walkthrough and the wind is picking up and the rain is just starting. So we'll just have to keep our momentum up on this one. Dan Jones is my name. Welcome to Dan's Boat Life. Capelli, new brand to Australia, not a new brand. These guys have been around 50 plus years, building really high quality ribs and more larger ribs than most of the manufacturers put together. I think these guys use more Hypalon than basically anyone else, so that tells you something. I think we'll just start at the back of the boat. Short Marine, dealers for Capelli, are bringing in a lot of these boats. I think they've got 10 arriving this month alone. So the rib market, we've known for a little while, if you follow this channel, that it is exploding, but I'm really seeing a steady increase continue. Large 10 metre plus ribs like this with a couple of 300 yammies or similar on the back, they're just getting really popular because their practical nature and their ability to raft up against big boats, lend them to your kids, those sorts of reasons, they're all coming into play. You know, I'm meeting a lot of guys who've previously had 70, 80, 90 foot boats and they're just happy with something between this size up to about 50 foot rib, engines like this up to the new 600 Mercs or similar, and to them it's just simple, easy, sort of cost effective, no nonsense kind of boating, which makes sense for Sydney. So what do we see here? We've got the Hypalon tubes. I think they've got 4 inflatable sections, individual sections on each side, so that's got a bit of redundancy built in there. And this is commercial grade Hypalon, so there are actually different grades of this stuff, and the lower grades, they're just going to shit themselves a little bit earlier, but this stuff's top of the range. Obviously, we've got the fiberglass section of the boat being a rib starting right here, and we've got Flexi Teak. This has got the grey inserts, looks good, great underfoot, lots of grip, but no maintenance, which is key. I'm out here on the port side. I've got a 3-step telescopic swim ladder with a grab handle just here, and these actual swim platforms, they do end just at the aft section of the yammies, so you could board someone on and off the back of the boat, because as long as you're careful with the motors, the distance here, it's perfectly achievable. Got our aft cleats just here. This is for the deployable sunshade, so we can protect this whole area via a couple of carbon poles in shade. Got water in here, got shower, cold water only just there, courtesy lights here. As I move my way across the transom, it is accessible via this Flexi Teak here, and then you have another essentially place to jump on and off the boat, but without the swim ladder on the starboard side. Shore power, these look like fuel cutoffs, I think, I'm not exactly sure. Courtesy lights, that's for the other side of the sunshade, and waste out because we do have a toilet on this boat. So professional mounting of the motors, good to see these nice big Yamaha plates here rather than just going from washers through the fiberglass on the transom. That's a really good professional fitting. So coming from the transom into the social part of the boat, so Cam, you go forward a little bit. Thanks to Cam for doing the camera operation today. Got stuck for a camera operator and she happily jumped in and helped out, so thank you, mate. So yeah, here we are in the heart of the boat. Didn't see any water coming across the sides when we went through chop at speed at 24 knots with swell on our starboard beam. Normally, or sometimes on some of these boats with ribs that touch the water, you'll chuck a little bit of spray up. Didn't happen on this one. I was really impressed with the hull form on this, or how am I describing this? I was very impressed with the softness of the ride going into the chop on this boat. The ribs really do make a difference to the stability underway, and even right now at rest. So I'm impressed. Lunch table, do your normal thing. This drops down, put a cushion in place, that stores downstairs. This can then all convert into one big sun lounge. These backrests are of a good size and you can just naturally do this. Also, if you're doing warp speed, which you absolutely will do on this boat, your guests are probably going to want to hang on to something. They're not going to actually feel like they're going to fly out of the boat because of the height of these backrests, but having that there does give you a slight sense of security. because we did 50 knots, like 50 knots. It was a lot of fun. This backrest will fold down, so I wouldn't do that at 50 knots, but it'll fold down and to increase the size of your sun lounge. Then this opens up. We'll do some B-roll so you can see that. Storage under here on the starboard and on the port side as well. Got a couple of blue courtesy lights at my feet just here, and I do want to point out that they've designed this hull with future-proofing in mind, because the floors, midships and aft here, even though it's just tankage below us, if you ever needed to do some major servicing, you could get in there by just removing the sticker and unscrewing the floors. It is accessible. Not all boat builders do that. Drink holder in the midships part forward of these sun lounges, and we've got a couple of speakers just there, which just look like top of the range Fusion jobbies. So Cam, you go back here. Let's get all of this in shot, and let's just try and let everyone appreciate what's going on here. Got a couple more courtesy lights just here. So just here is your little sink setup. So this is a cold water only sink, and then we've got, I guess you would just put things in there. I don't know if there's an option to do something else with that. Looks like a bit of a cutting board and somewhere to store things. Just a little bit of a mini bar setup. And then we've got the isotherm fridge. So that's a pull-out fridge. We've got the freezer drawer in it as well, and you can do stand-up bottles in this particular design. The T-top itself obviously protects the driver and the navigator, and it is really solid. This is really well made, no shaking around while bouncing through the waves. But I just want to point out this here. See how that pulls out there? So that is how you extend the beam of the sunshade to then get the whole protection over these aft seats here. So it's a mesh sunshade. You just go one pole, another pole, clip, clip, extend, extend, clip, clip, and you're on. So it's a real easy job. We will do that and cut to some shots. Another thing worth pointing out, LED downlight over the minibar. So if you're coming, nighttime date with your bestest and closest, and you want to have some drinks, that's possible in the middle of the night. So that is very important. So access around either side, it's equal in terms of the distance. That's really good for one person. Two people are going to struggle to move forward and aft at the same time, but therefore you have port and starboard, so it's not really an issue. This looks like fire extinguisher storage just in here. And then we get to the helm. So Cam, come and get all this in shot. So we've gone from all flat deck, essentially from the seat to here, and then forward of the helm we go up one step. I do see some drains going aft. I can't tell if they are draining into the bilge or over the side from where I'm located, so I'm not too sure. But the helm's seats themselves, so we tested these out in the test drive. You'd be comfortable driving this boat from a seated position. Definitely the operator, but also navigator. It's got a level attitude on acceleration and underway, so there's not a whole lot of this sort of stuff going on. Your visibility is great, and then even from a parking perspective, looking around and seeing the extremities of the boat, it's quite easy on this one. Transitioning to standing's not a problem, and obviously having the twin flip-up bolsters means the operator can do that without interfering with the navigator. How you going on the... It's all right. So come back here and let's get this helm into shot, Cam, so everyone can see the helm. So storage locker underneath the helm seats and access to the fridge motor as well. Why don't you come around this side, Cam, and let's get the helm itself in shot. Okay, so fixed steering wheel, perfectly fine in terms of space for the helmsman or woman and the wheel itself. And I found it was, perfectly fine. You've got a footstep just there, little storage in front of that for keys, wallets and phones and things. Then just starting on the starboard side and working my way across. This is the Yamaha digital throttle with all the all the operations that you would need, including single lever. So when you're bouncing through the waves, you can actually just put one of them down and out of the way and then operate it like this. That is actually important to know on the Yamaha throttles because they are a little bit lighter to touch. So if you're bouncing through waves at high speed, you might accidentally over rev it. So the solution is to do it like that. The joystick, I love this joystick, having tested it on another boat last week. And again today, it really works. It holds position very well. You just press stay point and it stays. Obviously drift point and fish point is fishing related. I'm not a fisherman. I like to order fish, so I'm not going to pretend I know what that's doing. But you really just press the joystick to activate it and operate it. But this particular one is also quite smart because if you operate the wheel, it deactivates the joystick. Not all of them do that. So I think that's a sensible safety function. If you're lending it to your kids and they have a brain fart and they need to go back to manual mode, this will save them from stuffing something up at the last minute next to your mate's Sunseeker. That could be embarrassing. Bow thruster, we all know what those are. We've got a compass just here. This, okay, just pointing this out, heading hold, this is the autopilot. So it's got a Yamaha autopilot. So you've got heading hold, course hold, track point, and I don't know what pattern steer means, but you can basically hold a course or you can enter some waypoints and it will follow those. And you also have the ability to go up and down by different degrees, so just alter your course. So that's really cool. That's quite handy. So if you were just wanting to sit the boat on an offshore run, sit on 25, 30 knots and just get you out the coast, do that. Multifunctional flat screen display, everything you need. You can cycle through. This is a Garmin, so really, we've all seen these before, but lots of optionality there. The Yamaha digital diagnostics, it's really great. It gives you the fuel flow and everything you need, and it's just touch screen. So I did enjoy using that today. I'm new to the Yamaha display, so I won't go through it in detail, but it's all there. In terms of switches, we've got our horn, navigation, all around white lights, bilge pump, blower, water pressure, anchor operation, something else, and that looks like a down light. We've got digital start, stop, so power, start, port and starboard, and then this is the anchor windlass power operation. So you just power it on and then operate it with this one, and this is our safety just here. I think I've covered everything. Just the one down light. Really, really good stainless construction for the support for this solid T-top. So I do like that. We're going to get downstairs in a second, but let's just follow this funky windscreen. It does give you wind protection at speed with a baseball cap on. I tested that from the seated and the standing position. It is possible. When you wind up to warp speed and move your head slightly out of the protection of the windscreen, you're going to lose your hat because Cam just proved that on the way over here. But yeah, it's very cool. It's quite funky. We've got stainless steel supports for the, or stainless steel surrounds for navigation lights, a couple of windows that go downstairs, and this is going to be a Perspex, one-piece wraparound Perspex windscreen with a nice Capelli logo in there. So we're carrying the FlexiTeak forward just in this section. It goes from here to fiberglass because we're then underneath the sun lounge. And you know, it's of such a design that this rib's just going to be, you know, another place to hang out and sit your bum and be comfortable because you can hang on, not at speed, I mean at rest, but it's totally doable. When you are at rest, possibly at speed, you could definitely sit here. So this is doable. You're not going to be interfering the driver's sight line. So in flat water, this is absolutely an option. But then I think the real benefit of this style of bow is they've kept it quite beamy. So lots of people, you know, just think about how many people we can get up here. I would say if you wanted to, you could stick 8 or 10 people for a bit of a hangout session up here, no problems. Really just fiberglass underneath us. I didn't see any deck hatches. A couple of drink holders just here. Cam, why don't you come around this way and we'll just focus on this bow before we wrap this up and beat the storm. So more FlexiTeak up on the bow. The bow roller just does protrude out the front, so just be careful of that when you're approaching any fixed docks or boats or come up alongside. We've got a fair lead just here for the ropes and our bow cleats. So we've got bow and stern cleats on this boat, and then accessing the anchor locker just through here, We've got an electric anchor windlass just there, and we can access the chain. It's all chain on either side. We've got the safety, couple of speakers here, and then you can operate it with up and down buttons just here. We operated it from the helm. It was simple. I think that's about it, guys. I think I've covered everything on deck. Let's go downstairs and have a look at the cabin. Okay, here we are downstairs in the accommodation. Decent sized bed, got a toilet and a few areas to put things, but I do enjoy crawling through the cabins and looking in the hatches of all the different boats, because you get a feel for the quality of construction and the standard that factory likes to keep. And from what I have observed so far, it's a high one with Capelli. I guess, even though I don't know much about this brand, knowing that they have produced boats for over 50 years probably makes sense. In terms of the bed itself, you know, you can totally overnight on this. It doesn't have airflow, so it's only going to be in the right conditions, not on the super hot days. But this cushion removes just here, so you can turn it into a seating area. It's obviously a perfect place to throw your bags. The important thing for the ladies, it's got a loo with a holding tank, and it's electric, so that's not bad. You've got a reasonable amount of privacy here. It is a see-through door, so if that was an issue, you know, put a beach towel over it or something. I can see some operational systems here in just terms of some switches on and off. We've also got 240 from the shore power, stereo, and some other primary switches to activate when you start for the day. And a couple other access hatches. Not standing headroom, it really is sitting only. You're not going to stand, you're going to be crouching down, because why would you in a 10-metre rib like this? A couple of fixed windows on the side and a downlight just here. Look, everything you need for a nap out of the sun or one night somewhere cool. Woo. Okay, so Capelli Tempest 1000, Capelli brand. New to me, probably new to a lot of Aussies, but not new. I like this thing. I really enjoyed how it drove through the chop. I really was extra impressed by how these tubes give the boat extra sense of stability, beam, and motion through the waves. But yeah, if you're just looking for something practical, fun, cool, impressive, let's face it, 10-metre ribs are impressive no matter where you arrive. And something just as the perfect Sydney Harbour day boat, you need to check out this Tempest 1000. If you like this content, give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share it with your mates, and I always appreciate you supporting the Patreon. My name's Dan Jones. This has been Dan's Boat Life. Thank you. See you on the next one.